Hi, everybody, and welcome to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament here in Knoxville for the first and second round games. We ask that everybody please silence their cell phones, no flash photography. We're joined here today to start things off by fourth-seeded Tennessee. We have Rakia Jackson, Jordan Horston, and Jordan Walker here, and we'll open up to questions, and we ask that media state your name and affiliation, please.
Jimmy Himes with the Sports Animal. Rakia, you announced that you're coming back to Tennessee next year. Does that provide any different mindset going into the NCAA tournament, maybe relief or anything?
I would definitely say it gives a little relief. You know, I just wanted to get that out there so my team and I can just focus on the opponent at hand and just continuing to focus in at practice and things like that. So it definitely feels like a relief to get off my chest.
And this is your first NCAA tournament. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, sir. I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for how far this team can go and the potential that we have to continue to keep playing great and build our chemistry. So I'm very excited.
Therese Walker, the Associated Press. Rakia, I'm just going to follow up. In making that decision to come back, how much of that was looking at what the squad might be next season as opposed to weighing, you know, the W and pro options overseas, NIL options here in Knoxville? You know, there seems to be an awful lot of opportunities with NIL here as opposed to taking that gamble, turning pro. How tough was that decision, and how much did all that come into play as you made your decision to come back?
Well, yeah, all of that you said came into play. I like to weigh every aspect. You know, I have to be realistic. I'm growing each and every day, so all that played a part in it. But as you said, like, I would love to play the WNBA. That has always been my dream. It's always been an aspiration of mine. But at the same time, you know, this is the first time where I felt like it's a family here, and I never played under a coach or with the same similar team for more than a year. So this would be the first time I got the same coach for 2 years, you know, the same familiar. It just be familiar for me. So, but a lot of that stuff did come into play. Of course, NIL is huge in today's basketball world, and, you know, just making the best decision for me and my family and things like that. So, and the team, like, you know, I feel like we can be great this year, we could be great next year, and just the coaching abilities and things like that.
And just to follow up, did the war with Russia, the whole issues with Brittany Griner, you know, a lot of overseas options are kind of limited by the war over there in Ukraine. Did that come into play?
I don't really know a lot about that information for me to personally have an opinion on it. Just the things that I see on the internet. I mean, of course, just seeing those type of things make you think about a situation more than you would before, because you wouldn't think like something like that would happen. So it's a lot of things that has to be better, you know, before I decided to make that. So.
Frank DeLuca, WBIR, Channel 10 here in Knoxville. Rakia, just one more question on your decision to return. How long would you say you knew that you wanted to come back for another year?
I always felt like I was 50-50, like even coming to Tennessee. I always told myself, like, if this is a great year, if the team is going to be how I think it's going to be, if it's just healthy, then I always highly consider coming back. But throughout the year, like, I've just been focusing on the season, so it really wasn't heavily on my heart. But I definitely wanted to just, you know, let my team know, or the possible recruits that may be coming in and things like that, you know, before the tournament, so they can start getting on that and things like that, so we can focus on the tournament.
And then for anybody who wants to answer, what has, you know, the time since the South Carolina game to now been, and what have you been focusing on most?
Since the South Carolina game, we've really just been focusing on ourselves and how we can continue to build and continue to get better as a team, whether that's, you know, continuing to build the chemistry or just working on, you know, little things that we have to clean up in order to, you know, get better and go far in this tournament. That's really what we've been focusing on, and we've had some great practices, so I'm really proud of this team and, like, our focus coming into this, and I'm just excited to get back out and be able to compete again.
Jordan Walker, when you've got Jordan Horston and Rakia Jackson around, does that make it a little bit easier to play the point?
Definitely. I know, you know, I can look inside, I can go on the wing, we can bring it back outside, so it definitely does make it easier to play the point guard. Makes my job a lot easier, and I'm just really thankful to, you know, be able to play this last year with two amazing players by my side.
Jordan Horston, hosting NCAA tournament, what's that mean to you to be able to play at Thompson-Boling Arena?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling to be able to play in front of a familiar crowd, familiar everything, like facilities. We don't have to travel. It's easy on our body. I feel like it's definitely an advantage for us, and we just got to take advantage of, the opportunities that was presented. So, like I said, playing in front of the best fans in America is always a great feeling going into the tournament. So.
To follow that up, a year ago you were hurt and couldn't play in those games here. How nice is it to know that you are going to be able to be on the court for these games and help this team this postseason?
Nah, it feels really good. It feels really good. It was really hard for me being injured and just having to just, watch the game instead of playing. So this year I'm really excited to, be able to just play the game of basketball again. So taking advantage of every opportunity that I'm given. And like I said, I'm thankful to be out there.
Jordan Horston, have you made a decision about whether you're coming back?
How did I know somebody was going to ask me that question when I came here? I'm honestly just focusing on, the season right now. Just one game at a time, one day at a time, so.
We trying, though.
Rikia been working on you?
I guess that's what she said. So, I mean, we working on our game and preparing for the tournament. And then we're going to worry about that when that opportunity presents itself, so.
I don't think Rikia is listening. Jordan, also, do you plan to make the decision after the NCAA tournament is over?
As of right now, I'm just trying to focus on the games and, just playing basketball. When I make my decision, I'll put it out there. You'll see it.
Jordan Horston, even though you didn't get to play in the games here to start the NCAA tournament last year, what were you able to take away just being in this atmosphere?
Oh, my goodness. I was just able to sit down and just watch the game. Like I said, I have aspirations of becoming a coach one day, possibly, and it just allowed me to see the game in another light. I feel like it allowed the game to slow down much when I came back from my injury, and it just, allowed me to be able to have that voice in another way. So, like I said, I don't take no opportunity for granted. Everything happens for a reason. It was supposed to happen, and I learned a lot from it.
Jordan Walker, what are your thoughts on St. Louis? What do you know about them?
Coming into this game, I didn't know a whole bunch on them. We were able to watch some film yesterday, but from what I saw, they're obviously a great team. You don't make it to, postseason tournament without being that. They play hard, so, really just going into this game, you have to respect your opponent and respect, their game and what they can bring to the table. But, like I said before, I'm excited to get out and compete with my team, and I know that we've done a lot in this, these past weeks since the South Carolina game to get ready, get ourselves ready, and, get back on the right track.
And from the point position, what was it like getting adjusted to Rikia Jackson, Jillian Hollingshed, and then losing to Marquis, those adjustments that you had to make from your position?
I would say the biggest adjustment is just trying to get the flow of the game and, reading who needs the ball when and where. I think that that's always something as a point guard that you have to take into consideration. So I think that, when Tamari went down, just seeing who was going to, kind of fill that void or how many people would fill that void. But having Rikia and Jill and Jazz Franklin all down there, in the post, and Caroline Strickland, how she stepped up this season, it's made it easier for me, I guess, because, they're all great players and they all can make a play and score the ball.
Jordan, obviously there's 2 games to be played, but with the tournament going to 2 sites after this weekend, have you had a chance at all, before the season to think about how much it might help the women's game or how different it might be? Kind of got a little taste of that during the pandemic bubble, but is it something that might help the women's game kind of level the playing field a little bit?
You're saying like if we were,
if
As on the
advan-
men's side, how they go and
Yeah, right. And if you all advance, you're going to be playing in Seattle, somewhere in Seattle, and then Greenville's the other location next weekend. And you know, like the men, they know they're going somewhere, and you know, you're not going to be finding yourself, say, playing in South Carolina or the state of Connecticut potentially next week.
You know, I think that for our fan base in particular, being able to host and being at home is really good for us. And I think that it does a lot for the sport and for the game to be able to host. I mean, you playing all season because you want to be a 4 seed or higher so that you're able to host. So I think it does a lot for itself. You know, just with that alone. But I also do think that if it was a possibility to be able to go to different sites instead of hosting, it may spread a little bit more awareness and, you know, get a few more people involved. But I think that, you know, with our fans, they're going to travel to wherever we go. So, you know, that's something. But it's not like that for every other school.
This is really open to anybody, but with a team like St. Louis that you don't have much experience, you know, historically playing, how much do you cross-examine common opponents, like how they got here off a win against UMass, who you played? How much do you study the fact that you guys have played a similar opponent? If you don't,
I mean, for me, it does help. Like when we were in film and Coach Kelly was like, you know, they beat UMass twice. And, you know, I remember when we played UMass and the people who were on that team. So I feel like it helps a little bit, like just get a feel of how the opponent probably is, or, you know, they beat a good team like UMass and that means something. So, yeah, that helps me a little.
And also, I know for myself, I always ask the coaches, like, okay, so what does this team play like? Like, who would you compare them to, like, offensively, defensively? And then we'll talk about that, and that helps a lot. So just, like, comparing them to, you know, things that we've seen, even though it's not going to 100% be, you know, everything that we've seen before because we haven't seen this team, but just having those comparisons and going into the game with, you know, a clear mind of, you know, what we're going to see. So I feel like we're pretty prepared. We're going to be okay, and we're ready to see them.
2 more.
Rakia, you're down by 17 to LSU. You come back and you win that game. What does that do for this team's confidence going forward?
It makes our confidence go through the roof, honestly. Like, I feel like we were so level-headed that whole game, though. We never got too high. We never got too low. We just stayed within ourselves. And the way that we played the second half was the way that we know we could have played the whole game. And that's the way we have to come out against every opponent, just being level-headed, steady, and just knowing at the end of the day, like, we could be anybody in the country when we're doing the right things, when we're slowing down, when we're executing. So I would say for this team, like, it just made us feel really good about ourselves. Like, this is what we should have been. But at the same time, it took time for us to get there because we are new. We do have transfers, and it took a lot of adjustment times. But we never got down on ourselves, and that just goes to show, like, the grit, the toughness that we have, and we're truly just overcomers of adversity.
Jordan Horston saying
To add on to that, I mean, it was the best time to finally be able to pull out a big win. You know, coming down the stretch into the postseason, you got to figure out how to win. Excuse me. You got to figure out how to win no matter what. Even if it's ugly, pretty, you know, perfect game, not perfect game, it just matters about, you know, who wants it more. So I was very excited to see that, you know, we had that fight in us and we had that heart. And we're going to be a very great tournament team. I believe that 100%.
Student athletes, thanks so much for your time.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Coach Kelly Harper will be here at 11. All right, we continue on today with the coach of the Tennessee Lady Volunteers, Kelly Harper. Coach, if you don't mind, start us off with a statement about the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, obviously we're excited to be here and really proud to be hosting the tournament. It's been fun to watch the games both on the men's side and the women's side the last couple days, and it will be fun to get started for us tomorrow. So, we're looking forward to it. I know we've got 3 terrific teams here in Knoxville as well, so we expect it to be competitive and a lot of fun.
Questions? Frank.
You were in Frank DeLuca, WBIR. You were in the same position last year. What did you learn about trying to handle the anticipation leading up?
Every year is it's different. Every year feels different. Your team's different, and we actually approached this one a little bit differently than we did last year, just because of our personnel. Some of the things that we've done, we've logistically we kept a similar schedule. What we did in practice was a little bit different. It feels like our team is ready. Like it feels like they're ready to play basketball. I hope that's the case. And I think for them, every year you're always educating your players on what the NCAA tournament is, how it's run, some of the little nuances about the tournament, what's different than the regular season, what's different than the SEC tournament, to try to help them understand what's next. And all year they've done a really good job of staying in the moment with the next opponent. I think they're doing the same now. And today's practice will be important to finalize some things for St. Louis.
Jimmy Hines with the Sports Animal. Kelly, you mentioned doing things different in practice. What have you done differently in practice?
We've gotten our players up and down a little bit more. Our roster's deeper this year than it was at this point last year. And just to try to keep them in a little bit better place conditioning-wise. I feel like we've had to scrimmage a little bit more. We've given them about the same number of off days, but we've tried to get them ready in terms of try to get them game ready a little bit more this year.
And what's the scouting report on St. Louis?
Yeah, well, St. Louis, I think it's interesting because if you pick up a stat sheet, you look at 17 and 17, and that just doesn't tell the story. It's not the accurate story of who they are right now. And I think you've got to dig a little deeper when you look at them. I think they've won 11 out of the last 12, so they're playing well with a lot of confidence. They have some really talented players. They have great scorer, great playmaker / defender / multi-purpose talent. They've got at one point I think she still is the nation's leading shot blocker. They have a lot of really good stats on their team, and they're tough. I think they are very versatile. They can do a lot of different things within their half-court defense that can really disrupt you. And then offensively, they can spread it out a little bit. They got some people that can shoot. They've got some people that can create. And they've got some people that can score inside, and they do a good job on the boards. I could probably keep going, but I don't know if you want the whole thing. They're a good basketball team. They're tough. And, just heard talking to someone the other day, the NCAA tournament is a winner's tournament. You've had to win to get here, and they've done that.
Therese Walker, the Associated Press. Kelly, you don't have tomorrow, but you do have Jordan Horston back this year. How much of a difference does it make when going into a tournament like this that you've got her on the court, not to mention Rakia as well?
Well, obviously Jordan is a dynamic player, and she makes a lot of positive plays for us in areas that you see on the stat sheet and sometimes areas that you don't see on the stat sheet. We were going into the SEC tournament, and I had forgotten. I guess I'd blocked it from my memory that she didn't play last year. And obviously having her out there, I mean, she's just a talented player. You want her on the court with you.
And I'm going to go a slightly different direction, a little bit bigger picture. You were part of a team, one of the 9 undefeated teams, and South Carolina is trying to do that now this year. When you go undefeated, now you're a coach, you experienced it as a player. Is it part challenge assembling the roster, schedule? How many components go into trying to chase perfection in a season?
I don't know. I don't know many coaches that go into the season saying, let's be perfect this year. I'm not sure. Maybe they did. Coming off of last season, maybe they wanted to better it by one, and to better it, I guess that would have one more win for them from last year. I think it's difficult. For me as a coach, I don't know that I would go in thinking let's be perfect, let's be the best we can be, and see where that takes us. And for them, it is your roster. It's also it's deeper than that. It is maintaining a competitiveness, not letting a complacency set in, continuing to improve. I think that was, I think that's hard when you have a great team. That you continue to give them motivation to be their best. Scheduling, I think, is important. You have to schedule to challenge them, to allow them to grow and be the best they can be.
And follow up, I mean, when you played, you were playing with Tamika, and Samika. How much does it help when you have stars like that? Right now, Dawn's got Aaliyah, Boston, and a couple other people like that. When you've got stars like that, is it easier to do, to play on the court, or do you have to try and find ways to keep some of the other players that you were playing with happy as well?
I think when you have star players, it gives your teammates confidence. Going down the stretch in a tight game, you probably feel pretty good about your teammates when you have star players. I know I did. Going down the stretch, I had 3 All-Americans that made my job a lot easier, but it gave me a lot of confidence that we could do anything. And I think and it's not just their talent, but also their demeanor, their poise, their attitude, their mindset, their experience. I think all of that matters. And when you have those players that, not just your star players, but star players in leadership roles, I think that can really carry a team.
Speaking of confidence, how much of a confidence boost was it to rally and beat LSU in the SEC tournament?
I think that was a big win for our team. I think it, gave us a lot of confidence, gave us some momentum, I believe, at that moment. I think I was so happy for our team. They've continued to fight and work hard all season and not always came up with the big win. And this was an opportunity to get that, and to see them rewarded with that win was very satisfying as a coach. I was happy for them in that moment. Obviously, it's a big deal, to be competitive, to be physical, to be able to maintain your emotions throughout a tough game like that.
We've already seen a couple of huge upsets on the men's side, a 15 seed and a 13 seed winning. Do you even need to bring that up to your team, or do they understand, hey, this is one and done, you can't overlook anybody?
Yeah, I don't think we have to bring it up. We will. I think every higher seed in the country is doing that right now. You just want to make sure. But I think our team is in a good space in their respect for St. Louis in particular. I think, they understand how well they're playing right now. They understand the challenges that they present as they take the court. And they also understand that you've got to go out there and be your best.
On Rakia's decision to come back next year, how much was that a conversation throughout the course of the season?
Yes, actually, her decision was ongoing conversations. So, from the moment she stepped on this campus, we started having those discussions, and wanted to make sure that she was well informed about her options, what it was going to look like here, what it would look like, if she decided to go, just try to make sure that she was as prepared as she could possibly be with all the information that she needed. And at the end of the day, I wasn't surprised. She loves it here, and she is she's really embraced being a Lady Vol, and she knows that her future. She's got a great future ahead of her, but I don't think she's rushing to get there. You know, I think she understands what this place means, and she's enjoyed it. I mean, she really has.
She said that this is the first team that she's actually felt like there's been that family atmosphere. It's been kind of an element of stability to it. As from a coach's perspective, you know, that's your whole goal, is to make that feel like a family. Just how does it make you feel to have given a seasoned veteran her first true, I guess, warm feeling in the locker room?
Well, as a coach, you want it to look a certain way, right? You want your program to represent your values. You want to see your players close and be part of a family. And to hear her say that obviously puts a smile on my face. I'm so excited, and I'm again just happy for her, happy for our team. You know that that's how they feel, and understand it's unique. It's a special place.
Kelly, are you having ongoing conversations with Jordan Horston about WNBA and her future?
Yeah, it's the same. Same situation that I had with Rakia. You're constantly talking to them about it, and everybody gets there in a different time. And so Jordan is, when she gets there, she'll get there with her decision, and we want to support her in whatever she decides as well. I think the hard thing for her is she's got two great options, and we'll when it's time for her to finalize her decision, she'll let everybody know.
Does it matter to you whether she decides during the tournament or after the tournament?
Well, there's some time. There are some timelines that she'll have to work through. I think March 27th is the deadline, so she'll have to work through some timelines. But also, it needs to make sense for her and for our team. It doesn't need to be a distraction. Which right now she's really focused on this team and what we're doing right now, and she'll get there when it's time.
Kelly, with the NIL, does that maybe make it easier for players to weigh that decision of going to the and seeking a pro career, or having the comfort of being able to stay one more year in college?
Yeah, I think the players' NIL opportunities nowadays. I don't know if it makes it easier or harder, right? I mean, because now there are opportunities to take advantage of their name and who they are really lucrative at the college level. And when I say make it harder, easier, sometimes it makes those decisions harder because now they're presented with two really good options. At the same time, so many of these players, their dream is to play in the WNBA, and that's a big deal too. That's your dream. So that's what they're weighing right now. The wonderful life that is being a college athlete versus taking that next step and living their dream.
Tomorrow, ABC, early tip, national audience, home court advantage. How big is that maybe for the women's game? And then looking ahead, you've got the teams that advance are going to two sites, Greenville or Seattle. Is this a good test for the parity of where the women's game is, and what the ratings might end up being with these kind of comparisons?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the regionals go. I think there can be some positives, and then there may be some negatives out of it as well. And I think it's one of those things you just don't know until you get there and go through it and experience it. Obviously you've got two extremes in terms of locale. You're gonna have, a lot of teams are gonna have to travel a lot of distance to get to those regionals. So it'll be interesting, and I know the Women's Basketball Committee and the NCAA will really evaluate that and proceed with either changes or maybe tweaks to make it continue. I think in terms of the network and being on in a great time slot in terms of our showcasing women's basketball. Obviously, we're excited about that. We think here at Thompson Bowling Arena, it's a great venue. our fans will be here. The environment will be great. And I think it shows some of the best of women's basketball.
2 more.
Kelly, how valuable has Hollingshed been coming off the bench for you?
Well, Jillian is one of the most talented players on our team, and she's been able to grow and mature throughout the season. I think the biggest growth that we've seen is just the experience that she's had throughout the year. She's a go-to player, and we needed that from her. And she's playing with great confidence right now, not just in games, but in practices. Her teammates have had confidence in her the entire year. I mean, the moment she walked on campus, they were fans. And, we're excited to see her growth, but also understand she can even continue to improve.
And how would you assess your defense heading into the NCAA tournament?
At times, our defense has been good. What coach is going to say, oh, yes, we're great, right? I think we remain pretty critical as coaches. We're always looking at things that we need to do better. That area is one of them for us, but I think our team understands what we need to do, and I think that's a big positive for us, understanding how we need to play, what we need to do. Throughout the year, we've added. We've modified, we've adjusted our defense to help fit this team, and I think that's helped us.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.
Tennessee practices at 11:30. The first 15 minutes will be open to the media.